The problem is that women shy away from something which is a life skill. You need money from the day you're born till the day you die.
There's so much of financial advice out there for you in the world that you always feel like, but what should I do first? You feel like you're not as empowered as you think you are.
Whole point of having assets is that if you need it, you should be able to sell it.
I have a house back home. Yeah. You may or may not actually have that house. You better check the paperwork. If you don't have enough money in your bank account right now to board the next plane and get home to a safe place where you can get a hug that you need, then you are in trouble. Hi, and welcome to another episode of More Bang for Her Buck, a show about women and money, and we promise it's all going to be jargon-free. This is a show that's produced by Brown on the Outside, and on this episode of More Bang for Her Buck, what I'm hoping to do is understand what financial empowerment really means. I think for a lot of us women, we think we're empowered. We think we know a lot about money, but we're not really sure. What are those milestones? What questions should I be able to answer in order for me to know for sure that I'm financially empowered? Well, I'm going to have Meeta answer those questions. So Meeta runs a great initiative called Moolah for Women. It's spelled Moolah for women. She's a banker with over 30 years of experience. And then when she was 50, she had a bit of a shakeup moment and she said, no, we can't be doing this. We've got to help women understand money in a jargon-free, fun way. And that's why she's on the show today. Hi, Meeta.
Thank you so much, Malvika, and really excited to be here.
I am so glad that you could make it too. But I want to start by asking, what was that shake-up moment? Just so we can recognize it in our own lives if we're going through it.
100%. So like you just said, that I've worked for 30 years. And until about 6-7 years back, I was managing my own money. But we had a crisis in terms of our family finances. And our finances actually went down southwards. And at that time, because of my own savings and because of the fact that I know how to manage finances, I was able to pull it back and come back to a good position. And that's the time I realized that if a person like me who understands finances can go through a financial mess like that, then what about all the millions of women who really think that they're going to be taken care of? And that's what led to my journey to begin Moolah for Women.
That's amazing. But why do we need to have this conversation, first of all? What's the need for us to start getting our stuff together?
Very interesting. So one of the reasons which I would think is that, for most women, they think that they're in a very safe space. They're going to be taken care of. They are in a space where they have a happy marriage. The husband's taking care of the finances. Or a lot of women are now working. So they think they're earning well, they're doing well for themselves. Or there could be a situation where women are thinking that, I have too much to do already, right? I am taking care of the house, I'm taking care of my job, I'm taking care of the children. Let the husband manage their the finance. At least one part he can do. Or they could be that, person thinks that that's something which it's very intimidating, it's very scary, I don't want to do it. So for whatever the reason it be, the problem is that women shy away from something which is a life skill. I think finance is really a life skill. You need money from the day you're born till the day you die. And yet we leave such an important, integral part of our life for someone else to manage it for us. And I think, it's high time we take charge of it ourselves.
It is. And I think I often find this as well when you're talking to women who are sort of happily married and they feel like, look, I'm not approaching a divorce anytime soon. Okay, we're going to be together forever. Yeah. And you know what? I do a lot of work. It's about time he takes care of something. At least he's doing this. Ek kaam to kar raha hai, let him do it, So what's the need for us to sort of take charge of that when we already, let's be honest, have our plates full?
So the thing is that while the going is good, everything is good, right? But the time to take charge, and life is uncertain. We all know life is uncertain. Today it's happy and go lucky and everything's going well, but you never know when what happens. And the other thing is that why should you continuously feel insecure, dependent on somebody when you can thrive, when you can enjoy your life, when you can dream big, right? I think a lot of women shy away from dreaming big. They probably don't even have their own financial goals. So for a lot of women, it's like, when I ask a lot of women in my tribe, initially when they join the program, and I'll ask them that, what are your financial goals? a lot of them just keep quiet. They either talk about their kids, or they talk about their husbands, or they talk about their family, their parents. It's never about them. It's always about somebody else. And I mean, why can't we as women really start having big goals? We want to be millionaires. We want to have a roaring business. We want to travel. We want to have fun. What stops us?
Yeah. I think let's not even go as far as millionaires. I don't know a lot of women who if you ask them to list their top 5 financial goals, would have anything on there that doesn't have something to do with their kids' happiness, their partner's happiness, their husband's happiness, or something for their parents. Like, it's always like, let me do something for the other members of my family first. Another important conversation that I think we were having was about mindset. As young as, and I know so many 20 to 25 year olds who we work with, who are kids of the hive who've grown up, it's like the mindset is, let me first give. Yeah. So from my first salary, I'll first give my mother, then I'll give my dad, then I'll give my brother, then I'll give my friends, and me, like, my money is the last priority. Do you see that too?
100%, right? So most of the time, women are supposed to be the givers, right? We are nurturers, we are givers, we are people who think that that's our role, right? For if you've seen your mother, if I've seen my mother, we think our mothers have probably lived their entire life giving, right? They've never thought about themselves. And we've all been in a plane, right? And there you see that even the air hostess tells you to wear your oxygen mask first. So it's so important to first be secure yourself. Only then can you provide security to others, right? I mean, and I often feel that women are themselves in a space of dependency or unhappiness or insecurity. How will they give that happiness to somebody else if they themselves are feeling inadequate or insecure?
I want to close this section of the podcast with a story you told me about a seminar that you were doing recently with new mums. Why were they all so angry with you?
Yes, so it was, these were these young moms who were moms to just about 6 months to 1-year-old kids. And I brought about a topic which said that, you are leaving your jobs at this point in time. You're depending on your husbands to take care of the financial part of it. And what if 10 years, 15 years from now, if your husband leaves you? At that time, you will be saddled with a kid. You will not have a job in hand. And you'll probably have no money. And
your husband, on the other hand,
on the other hand, your husband will probably just take a maid to cook food and have all the money with him and be in a happy situation. And that didn't go well down the women who I was talking to, because probably they were in a very vulnerable state and they were in a situation, they kind of got shaken up
a bit, yeah.
Because they thought they were in a safe space. They're kind of happy. They have a young kid, they have a good family. And here I am talking about their breakup. And that wasn't the intention really,
Yeah.
But that's how they took it as.
But we're going to say a lot more stuff that is very inconvenient and difficult to hear and probably will annoy you. So if you'd like to watch the rest of the episode, then that's coming up in section 2. So stick around.
Absolutely.
So we all think that we are, empowered women, independent women who have our stuff together. But you meet hundreds, literally thousands of women through your workshops and your courses every day. What are some of the stories that made you feel like you're not as empowered as you think you are, A, B, and that even shook the ground beneath your feet?
Again, a very, very interesting question. And, it reminds me of one of the movies that I saw some time back. And it made me think. So this was this movie called Dil Dhadakne Do, in which Shefali Chaya is binge eating because her husband has said some
nasty
stuff to her. And it made me think that a lot of women go into binge shopping. And one of the reasons that, in fact, I was talking to a coach, another coach who's a mental health coach, and she said a lot of women go about binge shopping only because they want to show it to their husbands that, oh, this is my time to, take it out, or I have my money now, I'm going to show it to him, or whatever. Or they're frustrated because somebody said something bad to them. They're feeling, emotionally really heavy, drained. So it's something which fills them up. So I mean, imagine shopping because of the fact that you're emotionally hurt, and without realizing, or probably even due to realization, some of the men land up doing that to their wives and making women feel insecure.
Yeah, I can totally see why. Because I feel like, when you don't have that independence otherwise, but you're given this credit card to go out and shop, you're like, you know what? For all the times that you didn't pay me that compliment, for all the times you didn't make me feel good, for all the times you didn't show up for me, here you go. I'm swiping your card. Absolutely. Now take that. And it's a sort of emotional revenge that is sort of playing out there. But I think what that also shows you is that a lot of your buying is actually emotional, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. In fact, what happens is, you land up going to a shop more to kind of vent out your frustrations, or you go to a shop, because you have nothing better to do. Because, I mean, you're bored at home, you have nothing else to do, so let's go and shop, right? Because, I mean, for a lot of women, you'll agree with me that for a lot of women, the way it works is that they're taking care of their family, they're taking care of the kids, there's no way to go out. So
there's no creative release.
Yeah.
I think also like this, I see this play out sometimes when annually, let's say there's a festival that comes around where the husband is supposed to buy you jewelry, and you feel like, this is my bonus payout. In your company, you get an annual bonus payout in March or whatever. This is my bonus payout now. This is where I'm going to be accumulating the wealth. You also told me this interesting story about a woman who said that she had a fight with her husband that really shook her. So tell us that story.
Yeah. So what happened was, there was this woman who's in my tribe, and she was talking about it the other day, and she said that, Meeta, once my husband, because he was in a bout of anger, told me to leave the house. And probably he didn't mean it. Or probably, it was something just, off the cuff which came to him. And he says, what if I throw you out of the house? Where will you fend for yourself? And she said that it changed me completely. It got me so, got me into a shell where I was a person who was really carefree. I used to spend money. I used to enjoy my money. I suddenly cringed inside and I said, oh my God, I am so dependent on my husband that tomorrow, for some reason, if he leaves me, then where will I go? What will I do? And she said she actually stopped spending after that. And she said, I had started becoming a mouse. And she started saving every little penny and she's still not coming out of that mindset. It's become so difficult for her, despite the fact that it's not true. She's fine with her husband now. But it's gone and sat down in her system. So, yeah.
But, I think that's just it, right? To give anyone that power, whether that be a husband or a dad or a brother or a business partner for that matter, to have the ability to say, what will you do if I just pull,
the
or
string
a boss
out.
For that matter, right? It's just, your entire reality could be shaken by one decision, one bad mood, one mood swing that I have. That's scary. But I think financial empowerment is not just about, having a will and buying a house and all these big things, but it's also about the daily decisions, right? Being able to have some kind of clarity on your daily decisions. Tell us a bit about that.
So 100%. So what happens is that, most people, when they think about financial empowerment, it's about, where should I invest my money? Or what should I do with my money, which will, which will make me independent in terms of how should my money grow and, what's the right place to put my money. But think about small decisions. Should I spend for an iPhone or, when I have one already? Or when you're going to buy a washing machine, should I take it on EMI or should I take it on, just do a down payment and do a lump sum payment and take it in one go? So there are every little thing. When you go for shopping, should I go for and buy something which is 100 rupees or 1,000 rupees or 10,000 rupees, right? So every second of your life, you're taking financial decisions.
So what advice do you give someone? Let's say I got a bonus of say 10,000 dirhams and I have 10,000 dirhams due on my credit card. Should I pay my credit card first? Should I put that into savings? Should I first build an emergency fund? I think that's also there's so much of financial advice out there for you in the world that you always feel like, but what should I do first?
Super question, because it's you who decides what you have to do with your money, and that's what budgeting does.
Yeah.
If you in fact, there's a saying which says budgeting is telling your money where to go rather than wondering later where it went. So when you get your money, the first thing you need to see is what all and which all places can it go to. And then depending on your priority, you're going to take a decision whether you need to pay your credit card bills first, or you need to make a payment towards your SIP, or you need to pay towards your kids' tuition fees. It depends on you. It really depends on you. It's not, I mean, there's no one shoe which fits all, right?
One size fits all thing. Yeah.
So,
great. Okay, so we're going to come back and we're going to list a couple of questions and put together a to-do list for you, so that at the end of this day and at the end of this episode, you'll have work to do and actionable advice. All right. Questions that we can help answer after a little break. So Moolah for Women is a platform that helps women understand their money in a jargon-free, fun way. And you do all these like courses, right, that women can engage with. So I'd like you to do a quick course for us right now. What can we do to understand our money better? So we break it down into a couple of bits. The first is your mindset. The second is your goals. The third is your access. And the fourth is the actual paperwork. So let's start with mindset. What do I need to ask myself before I even put pen to paper?
So I think the first thing you need to say is, I can.
Okay.
The day you say to yourself that I can take charge of my finances, your journey begins.
Okay. And then goals. This is an interesting question, because when you asked me the question, I didn't know whether I had full answers.
So yes, the second thing is to set your financial goals, because unless you have goals, you don't know where to reach. So then anybody can take you anywhere. Only when you have goals do you know that this is where I want to reach, and then you're going to take step by step, one thing at a time to be able to reach it.
You had told us like your goals list should not have, let's say my kids should be well settled, or buy my partner a present or whatever. If these are goals for myself, what do these goals look like when you look at women's goals list? What is their wish list?
So some of the women that I talked to would want to travel, to go for an international travel. They may want to set up their own business.
Okay.
Some of them want houses, a home of their own. They want to be able to, people who dream big want, I want a 5-bedroom house, or I want something big for myself. But yeah, mostly when you think about women, a lot of them are also talking about growing their businesses, which is very, very interesting. So they want to either have a shop of their own, or have enough money to be able to ramp up their business.
And I think also it's important to mention here that one of the goals that I think should be on every woman's list is to have enough money to walk out of an unsafe place, walk out of an unsafe marriage, walk out of an unsafe job, walk out of an unsafe physical space. If you don't have enough money in your bank account right now to board the next plane and get home to a safe place where you can get a hug that you need, then you are in trouble. So put that away first. What about access? I think this is a big problem, right?
Yes.
So what are some of the questions I need to ask myself about access to my money?
So, I always tell women that there is no point having wealth if you can't access it, right? Because think about, my husband has a lot of money, or my parents have a lot of money, and I'm going to be taken care of. And then if you need it, you can't access it.
Right.
So some of the questions which I tell women to ask themselves is that, do you have an emergency fund?
Okay.
If you have an emergency fund, can you access that emergency fund? And an emergency fund is something which you have to access very quickly, right? You can't have a day, when my husband comes back, then I'll be able to access an emergency fund. And one of the examples which I really remember having it is one of my tribe members who had, her husband had a heart attack, and he got admitted to the hospital. And she knew that there was money in the account, but she couldn't access it. So she had to actually borrow from a friend before she could pay it back. So that's one thing. So emergency funds. Then, do you have assets? Are they in your name? If they are in your name, do you have access to them? Do you know where they are? So, I have a house in Jaipur, but have you seen it? Do you know where the property papers are? Do you know how to sell it in case you need to? Or you have mutual funds, but you don't even know what the name of that company is where the mutual funds are, or what is the mutual fund folio number, or who do I reach out to if I want to sell that asset? The whole point of having assets is that if you need it, you should be able to sell it. And so for most women, they have probably zero awareness of how to access those assets. That's the second. The third is things like insurances. If you're a beneficiary of some policies, my father's left a policy for me, or my husband's created some policies for me. Do you know how to reach those policies? Or bank accounts also. Do you know that there are so many bank accounts which are unclaimed because women have no idea what bank accounts their husbands are operating, or even for themselves, right? So that's the third thing. Insurance policies, bank accounts, and then liabilities. do you also know what our liabilities are in your name or in your family, your husband's name? There's so many women who don't even know that their property has been mortgaged for a loan that's been taken by their husband. So tomorrow you are in a space where you have to take care of those liabilities. Do you know which loan it is, which bank it is, how much EMI has to be given to that bank? Having awareness of all these things is important.
This is so true. We just had a conversation with a friend who said that here's a woman who's got all the money in the world. She's got a job that's paying her a nice 30,000 dirham salary a month, but the rental contract is in the husband's name. She doesn't have access to a lot of the bank accounts because she's just given off the money to someone else, or she doesn't know where the paperwork is. So it's like, sometimes it's not just about having money. A lot of us have the money, or at least looks like we have the money. We're driving nice cars and we're wearing nice clothes, but we have no access to the actual wealth. And I think the point about liabilities is so important, because a similar story that we heard was where the husband was constantly taking loans in the name of the wife just because she had a better credit score. And often women have better credit scores than men because, they've not played high risk in the past. And when, shit hits the ceiling,
Absolutely.
it's landing on their heads, right?
And then there's the will. What about the will? In case of a will, most women will think that, I'll be given a will. And that's their source of comfort. But what if the will is contested? What if there is no will? Then a woman has to distribute, the wealth gets distributed between the mother-in-law, the kids, and the woman. So it's so important that you need to create your own assets independent of being dependent on a will. And like I said, if the will is contested, or if there is no will, then it becomes a situation where the wife probably is left high and dry.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the law in many parts of the world protects kids because they sort of get the money, but it doesn't always protect the wife. So it's really, really important. If you're depending on your husband or your father or your parents to be leaving a house to you and you say, I have a house back home, you may or may not actually have that house. You better check the paperwork. Thank you so much, Meeta, for being on the show. Moolah for Women is the name of the website. It's very easily Googleable. You can sign up for some of her courses. Individually, you can do one-on-one coaching. If you're a corporate and you're looking for training as well, reach out to Meeta. Thank you so much for answering all of these questions. My big takeaway from this show is just replay this section of this interview and sit question by question and see if you can answer all of those. I know I can only answer about 50%, and that's for after doing 12 episodes of More Bang for Her Buck. So that should tell you something. I hope that this is going to get you to ask some tough questions, both to yourself and the people around you. Thank you very much for watching our show, More Bang for Her Buck. If you think this is an important conversation, like, share, comment, subscribe, follow. It's a show produced by Brown on the Outside, and we'd love for you to be involved. If you've got a question or a comment, please leave it with us. This show is produced by Brown on the Outside. A thank you to our production team, The Dark Room, our producer, Sarah Anand, research and intern, Hiral Verma, and on hair and makeup, Neha Shah.